If you have ever lashed out at someone, if you've ever burst into tears, frozen up, fought back, run away from something scary, well, guess what that means? Guess what that makes you? Human. That's right. Emotions are simply a part of the human condition, and we cannot escape our emotions, just like we cannot escape our blood pumping through our veins. Emotions help us in so many ways. But for a lot of people, emotions really just seem to get in the way. So maybe you're feeling that way too. They can cloud our judgment. They can affect our decision making. They can lead to behaviors that ruin a relationship or cause us to miss work deadlines. Right? Some people even refuse to acknowledge or feel their emotions because their emotions haven't brought much good into their life. So welcome back to the Be a Better You podcast. I am your host and subconscious reprogramming coach, Allison K. Dagny. Now, I'm here to tell you something different about emotions. Emotions aren't inherently bad. They are like alarm signals, and they're trying to tell you something in a physical way so that you can respond to your environment or maybe threats to your safety. Today, I'm going to help you understand your nervous system a little bit better and your emotional reactivity so that you can stop running from emotions and stop letting them dictate how you feel. Instead, you can start working with them so that they enhance your life in the most unimaginable way for you, in a good way, right? Now, I can remember when I was in the depths of my emotionally abusive relationship. I felt so lost, I felt so sad, and I was completely reactive. And that's normal, right? Especially when you're under that kind of abuse. And I believed that I was completely out of control emotionally and out of control in my own body. And at that time, my husband, who I believe is a covert narcissist, not diagnosed, but I believe that, would consistently invalidate my emotions. He would tell me I was too emotional. He said I was crazy if I cried or if I got upset about something when we were arguing. I distinctly recall one argument where this happened, and I screamed at him, I cannot help how I feel. I cannot control my emotions. And I believed this in every single cell in my body. What I didn't know back then was that my nervous system was so utterly dysregulated, and that was the reason that I felt completely out of control inside my own body. And maybe you felt this way too, right? Like your emotions just happen. Like you have absolutely no control over how you feel. And if you're nodding your head or you're saying, yes, I do feel like that. I completely understand this because I carried this with me for many, many years. One thing that is really important to understand is how difficult it is to regulate your emotions during emotional abuse. Like I would venture to say impossible. Imagine it like this. You're in a boat, a little boat in the open ocean, and a big storm hits. And the waves are crashing against your boat, and the wind is howling, and the rain is blowing sideways. You are hanging on for dear life, and you're trying to steer, but the storm is so intense that you have no control. You're just trying to survive every wave, every gust of wind, in hopes that your boat doesn't capsize and flip over. Well, when you're in the throes of emotional abuse, your mind and emotions are just like that stormy ocean. You're in a constant state of fight or flight. You are reacting to the emotional waves crashing over you. And during the storm, it's nearly impossible to navigate, let alone get control over your emotions, right? So you're just trying to survive each hit, each attack, each emotional attack without being overwhelmed. But once you're out of the storm, once you've distanced yourself from the abuse, it's like the sea starts to calm and the waves die down, the wind relaxes around you, and suddenly you can start to steer your boat again. You can see again. The horizon is in the distance, and it's a lot easier to navigate. But you realize that while the storm was raging, it felt completely impossible to take control. But now that the storm has passed and it's over and the sun is shining again, you're able to find your direction and regain control of your emotions. However, and here's the thing I want to make sure that I'm clear about, even after you're safe, if you see a storm brewing in the distance, if a raindrop falls out of the sky, if you hit a bigger than usual wave and your boat bumps, right? Your mind recalls the memory of that storm, of that night in the boat when you were so afraid for your life. And your emotions start to build again. All that fear and anxiety isn't just a distant memory, but it's like this is absolutely a different situation, right? It's not the same as being in the storm again. And now that you are safe, you can start to take control of these emotions that once upon a time felt completely out of your control. Now, this is where my coaching can help you, and I know firsthand how overwhelming it feels to be stuck in that storm, feeling like there's absolutely no way out or no control. But I also know the incredible power of learning to navigate those waves with skill and confidence once you have the right tools. And in my one-on-one coaching program, I work with women just like you who have been through the storm and are ready to take back control of their emotional lives. We focus on understanding your nervous system, the emotional triggers that you're experiencing so that you can stop letting past experiences dictate your present moment. And together, we develop personalized strategies to help you get control, find your calm, and steer your life in the direction that you want to go. So if you've been feeling like you're still stuck in that storm or you're ready to navigate your life with more ease and confidence, I would encourage you to set up a free one-on-one consultation with me. And during this call, we'll talk about where you are now, where you want to be, and how my coaching program could be the bridge between those two. So you can grab that in the show notes. All right, so for those of you who've already escaped an emotionally abusive relationship, you might be experiencing some lingering effects that feel like they're hanging over you. Even though the abuse has ended, you still might be feeling this. So maybe you're noticing that you're constantly on edge. Maybe you're waiting for the next shoe to drop or the next bad thing to happen, even when things are going well. This heightened state of anxiety where you're always in fight or flight mode can really make it feel like you're still in that storm, even though the skies are clear now. So you could be struggling with things like intrusive thoughts, memories of the abuse that pop up in your mind when you least expect it. And this disrupts your day and it pulls you back into these painful memories. And these thoughts can be utterly exhausting and leaving you feeling mentally drained and emotionally fragile. Some people also experience hypervigilance after they escape emotional abuse. This is very, very common. Like you find yourself overanalyzing every situation, every interaction. You're looking for signs of danger or betrayal or manipulation, right? It's like your mind is just on high alert. It's trying to protect you from getting hurt again. So that's normal. But this constant state of like being on watch or being on guard can be incredibly tiring and prevents you from fully relaxing and enjoying your life. Another common struggle is difficulty trusting yourself and others. And after you've been manipulated and deceived, right? I understand what this feels like by somebody who was supposed to love you and supposed to care for you, and you truly believe that that person had your best interest in heart. It can be really hard to let your guard down once you've been hurt that way. And you could find yourself questioning motives of people who are like really good people, really kind people, people you've never questioned prior to that. Or you might avoid getting into close relationships as a fear of vulnerability because it feels safer to keep people kind of at a distance. Then there's emotional numbness, right? I've worked with clients who struggle with this sense of being disconnected from your feelings. And if you have been through emotional abuse, right, you've been through so much that your mind might actually have to shut down as a way to protect you. You might find it hard to experience things like joy or excitement or even sadness. It's just like a numbing that you have. And it's like your emotions are on mute or you're just kind of going through the motions of life. Another thing is dealing with self-doubt and low self-esteem. This is so common. This is like the first thing that we touch on when my clients come to me in my program, because after years of being told that you are not good enough, that your feelings were invalid, that you are the cause of all the problems, it's no wonder you would be questioning your worth. This manifests in things like self-sabotage or avoiding opportunities because you don't believe you deserve it, or you don't believe that you're worthy of the success. Or maybe you're feeling paralyzed by indecision. You can't make a decision because you're afraid to make the wrong choice, right? These are all really, really common struggles that women who have escaped emotional abuse are facing. And it's important to acknowledge them without judging them, right? So instead of looking at them and being like, wow, like look at all these problems that I have and I'm self-sabotaging and, I can't be vulnerable and I don't trust anybody, right? Instead of judging them, just acknowledging them, because you're not alone in feeling this way and there's nothing wrong with you for experiencing these symptoms. These reactions are your mind and body's way of coping with the trauma that you've been through. And I've talked about this a lot. These are trauma adaptations. They are ways that your body and mind adapt to the experiences and the traumas that you've been through to help you feel safe. But there's some good news here, and I want to share this with you, that you don't have to stay stuck in these patterns. So if you feel like you're on this hamster wheel, right, you can heal from these symptoms. You can get control over your emotions. Like I used to feel like I never had control over my emotions, but now that I'm out of the abuse, now that I have these tools, now that I understand how my brain works, it takes me sometimes just minutes to get out of an unwanted emotional state that I'm in. And depending on what it is, obviously. But when that happens, you can start to feel like you have the control and you can start to feel at peace and feel like yourself again. And this is where when you work with someone who understands the complexities of emotional abuse, who's been through it, and the aftermath and how to stop this from happening, right? That can make all the difference. So one of the most crucial aspects of healing after emotional abuse is learning how to regulate your nervous system. So when you've been in a state of chronic stress or emotional anxiety or turmoil, your nervous system gets stuck in a state of like overdrive, and it's constantly ready. It's constantly preparing you for fight, flight, freeze. You've heard of all of these nervous system responses, right? This heightened state of emotion makes it incredibly difficult to think clearly, to make decisions, or even to feel safe. And I know for me specifically, if I'm in conflict or I'm in, any sort of state of emotion, I know that I have to breathe and I know I have to get back to logic, because otherwise that emotional state is going to keep me in fight, flight, freeze, response mode, and I'm not going to be able to behave or operate how I want. So the other day I had a call with a woman in one of my 20-minute chats, and she was about literally like, as soon as our call was done, she was going to have to go to court with her ex over a whole bunch of financial things that she's struggling with. And it's literally heartbreaking to hear her, be in such a dysregulated emotional state, because I've been there too. And I know what that's like to get ready to face your abuser. You want to be able to tell your story. You want to be able to speak clearly. You want to be able to not break down in tears, to appear confident, right? So you can't do that if your emotions are dysregulated, if you don't have tools and ways to reset, and to then, obviously the next step would be to reprogram your brain so that you take control over those emotions, right? Because you absolutely can change how you feel. So if you're one of those people who are like, absolutely not, there's no way, like I used to be, I can't change how I feel, I can't control my emotions. That's not true. It's 100% not true. And I am proof of it, and my clients are proof of it too. So if you're tired of feeling this way, you're tired of getting triggered, you're tired of having anxiety, you're tired of, getting upset at any little thing that pops up, this is how you get a hold of your emotions. You rewire and reprogram your mind. So nervous system regulation techniques are really kind of the first step, and they're really important. So if you know how to do some of these things, you should practice doing them. But like I said before, you can kind of lessen those, but in order to actually change how you feel, you're going to need to reprogram the neural pathways in your brain that are creating those emotions anyway. So there are simple practices that you can use to help you calm down your body, calm down your mind, bring you out of fight or flight. and into a more like relaxed or safe state. And when your nervous system is regulated, you can think clearly, you can make better decisions, and you can start to feel more in control. So some of the techniques that I use with my clients are deep breathing, grounding techniques, mindfulness. And what these do is they just help slow down your heart rate, relax your muscles, they bring oxygen to the prefrontal cortex of your mind, and they bring you into the present moment where you can actually start to feel safe and centered. And that's why, like when I'm doing this with my clients, we do this before we dive into the deeper work of reprogramming your mind, simply because if you aren't feeling emotionally regulated, then you're not going to be able to tap into your subconscious mind. So we're always going to start with practices to help calm you down and regulate your nervous system if you're not feeling regulated in that moment. Now, if you're feeling really good and at peace, we can skip over that part. But I always like to check in and ask before we start reprogramming. So this is how I make sure that you, as my client, are in the best possible state to do the transformative work of healing and creating new neural pathways as well as healthier patterns in your life. And when your nervous system is calm, you're more open to change. You're more resilient in the face of challenges. You're not going to be resistant. And you'll be more able to integrate new ideas, new possibilities. You'll be open to different behaviors and things that we're doing when you are regulated. So this foundation is really key to making lasting progress and achieving that peace and empowerment that you're seeking. In my one-on-one coaching and in the Radiate and Rise community, I work with women who know what they're struggling with. They know, like they can say, like, I feel this way or I'm experiencing this. But what they're not sure of is how to move forward. And together we explore the underlying causes of your symptoms. Most people can identify their symptoms. I can't sleep. I get triggered. I spin out, right? I can't think clearly, right? They know what their symptoms are, but they don't know how to stop that from happening. And that's where I come in. We develop personalized strategies to help you break free from the patterns of anxiety, of self-doubt, of emotionally numbing out, right? Even that. We focus on rebuilding your sense of self, your sense of self-worth, regaining trust in you and other people, and ultimately reclaiming the joy and peace that you deserve. So if any of this resonates with you, I'd really encourage you to set up a free one-on-one consultation with me, and you can get the link in the show notes for that. And we'll discuss your specific challenges, and we'll see if my coaching program could be the right fit to help you heal and move forward. So you've already made it out of the storm. Now let's work together to help you navigate that calm that you're in now and make it even better and create a life where you can truly thrive. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for prioritizing your healing and your recovery after emotional abuse. I'm so happy that you are part of my community and for being a valuable listener. And if you would like my support and you want to talk to me about the programs that I offer, click the link in the show notes to schedule your call today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys next week.